Hello, friends. Welcome to Level Up with Debbie Neal. I am your host. There is nowhere I would rather be than right here, right now with you. This podcast is all about leveling up in all aspects of our lives. Thank you for being here. I am so grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you. Together, we are leveling up. You ready? Welcome back. I'm always so grateful that you're here. So if you are listening to today's episode, the week that it drops, this is Christmas week. So I just want you to I don't even like to say this, but I just want you to slow down with me for a few minutes and listen. And a lot of times I actually believe in slowing down, but because this is Level Up, and when I think about success, I'm always thinking about energy, but I just want you to slow down and really listen. When I think about this season, I love Christmas season so much, but with the joy and with the fun and with the love, it comes with distractions and expectations and obligations. I know when it comes to Christmas, I am the leader of this house. And I know that a lot of moms are. And so there's a lot of obligations that go along with that. But yet, I don't want to speak for everybody. We love that so much. But there's building your business. There's maybe some holiday parties. There's fun. There's emotion. But underneath all of that, Christmas is also a really holy time. I know that a lot of times I have to remind myself what Christmas is all about. And it is intentional. And, when I think about the season of Christmas, it's just anchored in truth. And when Christmas, for those of you that are Christian, Christmas to us is all about Jesus. And not just a story that we retell once a year or think about once a year. It's not just about a baby in a manger, but the living Savior who stepped into humanity to bring redemption, purpose, peace, and abundance. And when I think about Jesus, he did not come to offer a small, anxious, fear-based life. And this time of year, we can sometimes have, especially because the world's a little bit crazy right now. I don't even want to joke about it. It's actually a little bit crazy. He doesn't want us to be anxious. He doesn't want us to live a fear-based life. And so if you read scripture, if you read the word, it tells us that he came so that we may have a life and have it be more abundant. And that abundant life applies to every area. It applies to our faith. It applies to our families. It applies to our leadership, our finances, and our business. So today, I just want to talk about words I think about when I think about Christmas. And these words are going to sound familiar to you. And sometimes we see them on ornaments. We see them on Christmas cards. We see them on social media. But these words are not decorative. They're just not about posting them. They're really directional. And I really want to look at them through the lens of an abundant, successful, Christ-centered mindset. So when I think about Christmas, and obviously Christmas has a whole meaning with the birth of Jesus, but I tried to take some of the words that I think about and then how we apply them to business and life. So some of these words I think about are new birth, faith, which we don't talk about these words just at Christmas, but they're much more prominent around Christmas. Faith and hope and joy and peace and love and forgiveness. That's a challenging one. And so I also want to talk about, because what's also really important, especially around Christmas, is community and relationships and time together. Yesterday was a perfect example. I was doing some work. My son, Ryan, who just came home from Italy, he was studying abroad, was like, do you want to go sit in the back room? I'm going to play Donkey Kong. And I was like, yes. I could bring my work back there. And how many times do we sometimes be like, oh, no, we'll be there in a minute, or we're working on something. And we do our best to be fully present, but sometimes we get lost in the hustle and the bustle of things. And so I really want us to talk about community and relationships and time together, because I believe there's nothing more important to that. And Jesus himself modeled abundance through connection. Everything was around a meal, coming together, spending time with people. And this episode isn't just about doing more. Look, I'm all about effort. I'm all about grit. I'm all about, putting in the time. But I really want us to spend some time. It's also about becoming more aligned. And when we're aligned with Christ, when we're aligned with our calling, and really getting clear on the way we define success. So this week is a perfect week to really reflect, spend time with the ones you love, set clear intentional goals, get in alignment, and get into faithful, bold action. So the first word that I want to talk about today is new birth, right? And when new birth, now we're talking specifically around Christmas time. Abundance always begins with Jesus. This is when Jesus was born. But Christmas begins with the birth of Jesus, right? And with that, there was an invitation of transformation, which every single one of us have the opportunity. I love new birth. And so new birth reminds us that God specializes in new beginnings, not polished beginnings, not perfect beginnings, just obedient new beginnings. And when Jesus entered the world, every single thing changed. And when Jesus enters our lives, the same thing is true. When Jesus enters our business, everything changes. An abundant mindset understands that you're never stuck when God is involved. I used to joke about this all the time, even when people would say in general, I'm stuck. Like, what does that even mean? You're stuck. We're never stuck. Like, your legs are not planted in cement. A lot of times we think we're stuck because we have to push through that new lid or grow that new skill or develop more belief or have more faith. But we're never stuck because we were equipped and we were made for more. And one of my favorite verses in the Bible is, be still and know that I am God. So it's on a mug that I drink my coffee out of every single day. Be still and know. So it's just that piece of knowing. And so how often do we stress or we overthink or we worry? And every single one of us do this. So when I think of in life, okay, so for each word I did in life, in business type of thing. In life, new birth means you're not defined by your past seasons. You could have had a rough childhood. You could have had a bad experience. You could have had failures. You could have had, really low self-esteem. You're not defined by that. Every single day you have an opportunity to rebirth yourself. You're not limited by previous failures. A lot of times failures are just stepping stones to who we're meant to be, what we're meant to do, how we're meant to grow. You're continually being renewed. We have an opportunity every day to become whoever we want. We get to think. You want to be a big thinker? Start thinking big. You want to be strong? Start lifting those weights. You want to be a leader? Start to become a leader. We can build anything we desire. You can change your mindset. The only thing we really have control over is what goes on between our two ears. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And so building that mindset every day, you can have a new birth. You can choose to live an abundant life where you see the grass as always, I don't want to say the grass is greener, but you always see what's flourishing. You always see the good. You always find the positive. New birth, you can make anything new. And so that's in life, but in business, it's really the same thing, but then in addition, it can mean that every day is a new day. Yesterday doesn't define you. This morning doesn't define you. Every day, you have an opportunity to be better and think different and show up better. You can evolve with joy. Your business is not supposed to be frustrating. We use the word hard. Really? Hard? Have you seen some of the things going on in the world today? Your business is not hard. Pushing through growth is hard. Overcoming challenges is hard. I get it. But to me, being told what I'm worth is also hard. Not having Thursday's my son's birthday, one of my sons, Tyler's birthday, is going to be 25 years old. I'm so blessed that I have built a business that allows me the flexibility of time and to own my time. And so what he wants to do on his birthday on Thursday, instead of opening gifts, which is very challenging for me because I love having gifts wrapped, he wants to go shopping all day and pick what he wants. Amazing. Then he wants to go to this place called X Golf, where it's, like simulated golf and you can get cocktails or food or whatever. And then we're going to a Brazilian steakhouse. And how blessed am I that I was able to put nothing on for that day so I could allot that day, not for his 4-year-old birthday, not for his 8-year-old birthday, but for his 25th-year-old birthday. And how blessed am I that my son at 25 still wants to be with his family. His fiance will be joining us for the day. But I said, look, if you want to do something just with Jamie or with everyone, and he chose everyone because him and Jamie could do something on a different day. But my point of this is hard to me would have said, buddy, my schedule doesn't allow it. I'm working that day. So you get to choose your hard. You can pursue a big vision without shrinking to the opinions of others. You can learn any profession. You can expand as a leader. You can redefine your standards and expectations. You can change how you show up. Every day, we have an opportunity to create a new birth in our business, in our life, in our mindset. Jesus shows us that abundance often starts small, starts quietly before it expands. So after each word, I kind of go on with just things I wanted you to reflect on, because I want this to be I want you to reflect. So I want you to ask yourself, where is God inviting me to see myself differently? Maybe, and I give you an example, maybe you've said this truth that's not true. I'm not a good leader, or people don't want to join me. Do you think that's the way God sees you? God sees you as a leader. God sees you as someone that people would want to join. But it's up to you to create that new identity, that new birth. What is God's calling for my life? You were made for more. You weren't made for average. You weren't made for stress. You weren't made to live paycheck to paycheck. But in order to change our outcome, we need to rebirth ourselves. How many lives can I impact by leveling up? When we stay small, when we shrink to the opinions of people, when we live inside our failures, when we avoid change, we actually are holding other people back. Because when you become more, you now have the ability to help other people rise and step into their God-given potential. So when we stay smaller than God intended us to be, we're doing everybody a disservice. Another question to think about, what next level is ready to be born in my life or my business? And this is a great time of year to really reflect on that, because the goal is to end this year with conviction and start next year with passion and purpose. And so another word that I think of not only Christmas week, but all year long is faith. Faith. Faith is like a confident trust. It's a knowing. And that faith produces action. If you don't have faith, why would you take the bold steps? Why would you do the courageous things? Faith is the engine of abundance. And biblical faith is not passive belief. It's an active trust. It's a deep knowing. So if you think about Mary and Joseph, right? Mary and Joseph said yes without knowing how everything would unfold. Imagine being told by an angel, you are going to give birth. You're a virgin. You're going to give birth to the Messiah, and he's going to be born in a manger, and he's coming to be the Lord, the one. That takes faith. Their faith required courage, humility, and action. And so an abundant and successful mindset understands faith must come first. You have to have faith in order to move forward boldly. Faith leads even when it feels really uncomfortable. In life, faith looks like trusting Jesus with outcomes that you cannot control. There are times I would be lying right now if I didn't, and you guys, I don't want to switch this podcast to anything negative, but like, if it wasn't for my incredible business and all of you, there'd be times I would really feel like closing social media because there's just such negativity in the world. And I literally, as much as I have so much faith in Jesus, sometimes my human mind takes over and I start going down rabbit holes. And my job, my role, my purpose is to trust Jesus with outcomes that I cannot control. So if you think about business, some of the things that faith looks like is stepping into leadership. Even when you feel unqualified, you will feel unqualified for the next level because you are unqualified for it. You become who you're meant to be on the journey from where you are now to your goal. Faith looks like taking bold action without seeing results yet. Like people kind of wait to take that brave, bold, courageous action until they feel like they're guaranteed to get results. It doesn't work that way. Faith is building your confidence in the process, making decisions that honor God, believing that abundance follows faith. And it does. Like, you can pray to God all you want for the business that you want, but you're equipped with courage. You're equipped with faith. You need to step out on that skinny branch. Faith stretches us. But what it also does when we allow it into our heart, it stabilizes us. So I really want you to ask yourself, where is God asking me to trust him at a deeper level? What are you holding yourself back from? What are you not going for? What do you not have faith that you can create? What actions and beliefs are required to build the life I deserve? You know what you want. Maybe you don't really think about it, actively think about it sometimes because we feel like it's out of our reach. But you know ideally what you'd want to earn, what you'd want your days to look like, what you'd want your life to look like, where you'd want to live. But what actions and beliefs are required in order to create that? What action is my faith requiring right now? Okay. So the next word we're going to look at is hope. Hope. I mean, that's a word we think of all year, but especially this time of year. Hope is a vision for the future that's rooted in God. Okay. So hope is not wishful thinking. It's not like, I just hope one day to be successful. That's not what we're talking about. That's a term that hope is used, but I'm talking about real hope. Hope is expectation that's anchored in God's promises. Jesus entered a broken world carrying hope that restoration was possible. An abundant mindset is hopeful, even in uncertainty. Like you will build through times of uncertainty. An abundant mindset always sees the positive. It always sees the invisible. That's the kind of hope that I'm talking about. The kind of hope that speaks with confidence. Hope that believes. In life, hope gives emotional endurance. When you feel emotionally tired or weak or frustrated, it's that hope that keeps you going with so much happy, truly happy energy. In business, hope fuels growth and it fuels vision. And what some of the things that hope allows you to do is to stay forward focused. Like you're not going to be looking back. You're not going to be doubting yourself. You're not going to be questioning yourself because you are rooted in hope. Hope will allow you to persevere, to keep going, to keep growing. That one more ask, that one more presentation on the calendar, that bold step every single day to continue until. Hope allows you to live in your word. It's such a gift when somebody honors their word. Go to the top because you said you would. Grow to the next level because you said you would. Lead your team to victory because you said you would. earn that trip and take your loved one because you said you would. That's what hope allows you to do. Hope allows you to stay committed. It's doing what you said you were going to do long after the feeling you said it in has passed. That's the kind of hope. Learn from setbacks instead of be defined by them. I wish there were people view setbacks as such a bad thing. They're just part of growth. If you're not experiencing setbacks, you're not taking enough courageous, bold action. Hope allows you to believe that growth often happens in the dark. It's when nobody's watching. It's those little steps forward. It's going from where you are to where you want to be and setting, numericals every month that you grow a little bit. I really want to say a lot, but let's go a little bit, but you're going in the right direction. Hope is that childlike belief in your heart that you could do any single thing that you set your mind to. Hope keeps you moving before the results show up. So I want you to ask yourself, what am I believing God for in the next season? What is the next season of your life, of your business? We have one life and no dress rehearsal. So the next word I want to talk about is joy. Joy. Joy is the benchmark of true success. We've heard this many times, and I know I've said it on this podcast. If you love what you do, you will never work another day in your life. It doesn't mean that you are not putting in effort, but it means it's rooted in joy. It feels effortless because you love it. Joy is not optional in an abundant life. It's essential. Joy is not dependent on your circumstances. It's rooted in this relationship with Christ. It's rooted in a deep knowing and belief of what you're creating. Without joy, we will always be chasing something and never feel fulfilled. So again, when we're tying it into this week, Jesus brought joy into the world. He reconnected people to purpose and belonging. So when you think about in life, joy looks like pure gratitude. I'm so grateful for my business. I'm so grateful for every single level up listener. I'm so grateful for my company. I'm so grateful for every speaking opportunity that God brings to me. In life, joy looks like laughter. Laughter is literally the best medicine. Laughter makes you feel joy from the inside out. Joy looks like presence, being where you are. When you're building your business, be there. When you're selling your products, be there. When you're working with your team, be there. When you're with your family, be there. When we're doing everything below our level of excellence, then we're not present, because when you're with your family, you feel guilty that you didn't build your business to your best ability. And when you're building your business, you can feel guilty that you've missed things with your family because, again, we're doing everything kind of half-ass. And in business, joy looks like loving what you're creating. Do you love what you're creating? Are you leading without resentment? Are you measuring success beyond numbers, beyond sales? There's this quote or whatever, but I read it somewhere. If success costs you your joy, it's too expensive. Now, that's a really interesting sentence, because some people could think of, I don't feel joy all the time. Maybe I'm on the wrong track. Maybe I need to do something else. Maybe I need to walk away. No. Okay. The reason why a lot of times it's costing us our joy is because we are working beneath what we are made for. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. Pressure is part of growth. Obstacles are part of growth. Lids are part of growth. Hard is part of growth. So that's why you will feel those things. But at the same time, our goal is to find joy in all of it. And you want to know how you do that? You're rooted in vision. You have hope for your future. You have a deep knowing of where you are going. Jesus invites us every single day into a joy that strengthens us. We get to bring that joy in every single thing we do. Relationships, friendships, business, conversations, everything. The next word is peace. peace. This time of year, we're thinking peace on earth. Abundance that is calm and confident is what I think of when I think of peace. Okay. And then, of course, we could think of Jesus because he's the Prince of Peace. Peace, when we think about peace, though, it can be really tricky because it's not the absence of challenge. It's not like I'm going to feel peace, so my life is going to be totally zen. It's the assurance in God's presence. An abundant life is not chaotic or frantic. Those things happen in life. Peace looks like emotional steadiness and trust during the chaos. Okay. So when you think about business, peace could look like really clear priorities and vision. Like, I have this peace. I know what I need to do and I know why I'm doing it. Rock solid, committed goals, respect for your business, decisions made without panic. Peace allows you to build long term. You don't need to rush what God is orchestrating in your life. Now, some people could hear that and be like, that means I'm just going to sit and chill. I'm going to be zen. So we hear don't rush. And sometimes people confuse that with chill, relax, and don't get uncomfortable. That's not what I mean. It's not what I mean. Okay. It means be consistent. Stay true to your goals. Don't overestimate what could be done in a month and underestimate what could be done in a year. Fall in love with the process. Show up every single day with love. It's not about being frantic. It's about building with joy, building with love, and peace, which brings us to the next word, love. When I think about love, it's actually the multiplier of abundance. When you think about your business, think about everything you love. When you think about your relationships, think of everything you love. We're so quick sometimes in business to talk about the things we don't love. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. You will always not love things about a business or about a job. But what you focus on expands. If you talk about what you don't love, if you think about what you don't love, then more of that is going to show up in your life. But if you think about all the things you love about your business or love about your job or love about your profession, more of those things will show up in your life. So love is the foundation of Jesus. Love is strength. Love is wisdom. Love is leadership. In life, you know what love looks like? Compassion and grace. That's what it looks like. And in business, love looks like some things that look like integrity, service, valuing people. You know what I love about love? It builds trust. And trust builds sustainable business. So when you think about leadership, if your team knows you love what you do, that's going to build a sustainable business because they're going to trust you. So here's some things I want you to ask yourself. Where can I lead with more love? People feel your love. Your team feels your love. So where can you lead with more love? Here's the next word, which can be challenging, and we often lose sight about how powerful it is. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. And this is, we should be forgiving all year long, but this time especially. And you know what? First of all, when we hold on to resentment or we hold on to anger or bitterness, it's really not hurting the other person or situation. It's hurting us the most. Forgiveness, when we allow that into our life and we forgive, it makes space for more good things to enter us. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful principles of abundance. It's about releasing. And unforgiveness restricts growth. Jesus offered forgiveness freely, and every single day we have the opportunity to do the same. In life, forgiveness brings healing. Like maybe it's with a parent, maybe it's with a past significant other, maybe it's with a child, maybe it's with a business, who knows? But it brings healing. In business, forgiveness brings clarity and creativity. When we're holding on to resentment, we can't think of new ideas, new solutions. Forgiveness is not weak. It is emotional, and it makes us strong. So I really want you to think about, what am I holding on to that is limiting my future? Like, what is it? Who is it that you need to forgive? And you don't even need to call them up and forgive them. Okay, if that's not where the relationship is, sometimes it's actually just forgiving it in your heart and releasing it. Who do I need to forgive? What resentment is living in my heart? Because here's the thing, friends, release is really powerful, and release is a huge part of growth. When we hold on to those things, we literally lose the ability to move forward. So the next thing I want to talk about, because those are really the words I wanted to talk about, is community, relationships, time together, which is like really God's design for our life. That's how we become full. That's how we became full. And if you even think about Jesus, like he came into, everything was about relationships for him. He lived in community. He shared meals. He built friendships. True abundance includes meaningful relationships. So when you think about life and business, community is that support, that emotional support, that spiritual support. Relationships create perspective. Time together builds trust. And this season, this week, reminds us that success is empty without connection. That's one of the things I love so much about what I do for a living. Like, I didn't start my business for community. I started my business because I looked at a company at the time that was 27 years old. We're now 45 years old. I'm like, the products are amazing. The business model's amazing. The earning potential's amazing. I was praying for more. I'm doing this. This could be the difference for me and my family. I didn't say yes because I was looking for more community in my life. In fact, I thought I had enough friends and enough community. But as I've been building this, and now I'm embarking on my 20-year anniversary in May, I'm like, I am so grateful for the community and the connection and the positive, faithful people that I've surrounded myself with. So this week, we have an opportunity to redefine our success through Christ, through Jesus. And it's just nice to really connect everything. And for me, it's a really big step because if you guys don't know my journey, like, I don't know, when I started my business in 2012, honestly, probably till about 2020, I believed that business and faith should be separate. That's what I believed. And that was the devil whispering in my ear. They're not separate. They are not separate. Everything I have, everything I've built, it's on the foundation of Jesus. And I wouldn't even be able to do what I do without the gifts he's given me. Jesus didn't come to make life smaller. He came to make it fuller. And as you're moving through Christmas and moving into the new year, like, I want your life and your leadership to really reflect new birth, faith, hope, joy, peace, love, forgiveness, all rooted in Christ, all rooted in possibility. And so I just want to really wish you from my heart to your heart, Merry Christmas, my friends. Thank you for being part of the Level Up community. Thank you for being such loyal listeners. I'm so grateful. And if you are loving this podcast, please subscribe to it. I don't even know if you know that you can subscribe to it on Apple. Please leave a review. Please share it with friends, because the more people that we have in our Level Up community, we are just building such a positive, abundant life. So until next time, friends, just keep leveling up. I love you.